All right. Welcome to the Graphic Organizers Group Project. I am Catherine, and my teammate Lexi will be taking the other half of this setup that we've kind of made for you all. So I am going to go through a presentation that I made about what graphic organizers are. But first, I wanted to kind of go over a to-do list. And so the first thing is obviously watch the video. Included is also going to be the presentation, this presentation that I'm going over right now. And then that way you have it on your computer. You can go through it as much as you like. Explore the links. So in the PDF, there will be hyperlinks within the hexagons, and you can absolutely click on those and they'll send you to the sites. And I do encourage you to explore those. There's lots of really great information. Some of them are articles on graphic organizers, and some of them are just useful template sites to make your own graphic design, or to make your own graphic organizers. So there's a little bit of everything in there. And then the next step is to create a graphic organizer of your own with any digital or physical method that you prefer. I encourage you to get out a pencil, markers, paper. I think there's a lot to be said for being creative and getting out ideas with your hands than digitally, but some of us just don't work that way. So you do you. But what we want your graphic organizer to do is outline what you want your tool kit to look like, what information you want on it, and those pieces that you're including. So one of them could be graphic organizers that you're putting in your toolkit. But within that graphic organizer, maybe the graphic organizer that you're making for your toolkit is an example within your toolkit. So hopefully that wasn't confusing. And then share that organizer in the discussion with your classmates so that we can all see each other's organizers and to see what you came up with, how creative you were, or just how straightforward and simple you made it. Sometimes that's for the best. And so again, everybody thinks differently. And so that's week 13 that we're in for that discussion right now. And then we'll just discuss more and more as we start posting these graphic organizers with each other. And so create, have fun. And so I want to go into what is a graphic organizer. And we will go over that, but first, visual learning tools to help organize ideas, clarify and simplify complex concepts, help with problem solving and decision making, and they can be used to plan, research, or brainstorm ideas. What are they good for? And so I've seen a lot of research on students with ADHD really enjoying, especially this hexagon one that I'm actually showing in the presentation, making those connections and having them all touch. And then again, visual thinkers as well, putting those ideas on paper. Sometimes we just have them rattling around in our heads and we can't think that way. Sometimes just a simple list just doesn't do it for us. And so if you're a visual thinker, graphic organizers are great. So again, organizing those in a graphic way, colors and shapes help stimulate the brain. So two types. One, maps. Brainstorming, conceptual thought, and word association. So we think of mind maps a lot when thinking about building a story or a concept for writing. It's good to get out those characters, the place, the who, what, where, and when. And then semantic maps are used a lot for children learning language. And this can be used for second language learners. And so those words are associating themselves with other like words and pictures. All right, the other are charts. So charts are great for problem solving, relationships from one thing to another, and then order or list making. A lot of times, pros and cons lists are thought of. That's called a T chart. And then just this simple timetable, or just this simple making a list of things, but step by step. The Venn diagram. All of these are really useful charts for problem solving and order and list making. So we read about motivation in our book, and we've gone over several different areas of motivation, but I just made this really, really simply. That planning in this way for procrastinators is really useful. When making a mind map, if you're putting out those ideas on paper, then you've already got the majority of the assignment or the task at hand that you already need, and then you're just putting those pieces together. So for a procrastinator, you've done half the work already if you've done a mind map, and then just putting it in a certain order in a certain format is all you then need to do. So mind maps also help you feel excited about tasks to come. It's also really nice to check off something off a list, right? Makes us feel great. So that's good motivation because it is easier to look at a drawn out path and check off the steps, like I said. They're not just rambling around in your head and seeming like so many more things than there actually are. If you put those things out on paper, then it seems a lot more manageable. Because using color, images, and shapes helps stimulate the brain, and you're more likely to retain information because of that. You are going to start making associations, or just looking at a pleasant color. Sometimes making the mind map is going to be nice if you can get out some markers, and so that's great motivation. Also, I want to say that I do notice a spelling error in here, that second to because, so I apologize for that. And this website at the top, I do suggest going to it. It is a great, it's a great article to look into further. All right, so learning transfer. Also, we have been learning about this in our book, and I'm just going to go over one piece of it, which is near and far. So first, looking over examples and having a presentation not only to lecture from, but to look at, to flip through, to keep, make notes on, etc. Second, something to refer to later, then practicing those methods in small ways. And so if you're looking at this presentation and you're thinking, you know what, I should use a mind map again for this assignment, it's going to help you realize how to do that for the specific thing that you're trying to do. And that might just be in a small way. It might just be to get out some very elementary beginning thoughts to something. So third, you can later use those same skills to create your own mind maps and demonstrate a plethora of problem solving and concept processing throughout your life. Sometimes this is going to come into like large projects. People like seeing process sometimes, depending on what your career path is, and a graphic organizer is a big part of that process. It also, again, will help in a presentation have some interest to it. It'll keep people engaged. It'll motivate them to look at it if it's visually interesting. Again, I want to point out that there is another spelling error here in this third part, concept. So again, I apologize for that. I will fix the presentation so that those spelling errors are not there. And then lastly, I want to go over scaffolding, schema, and repetition. Repetition is all just about doing it over and over again, using it for multiple different projects, seeing how it works better or not so well for certain things. Next is ways of learning and facilitating methods. So Lexi actually did this part, so I'm just going to go over it briefly. She can go into this further if she likes. So cognitive learning and then learning through inquiry. And then learning objectives also was Lexi, and so I will let her speak on those things. But I just want to kind of go over quickly. Upon completion of the lesson, participants will be able to create their own graphic organizer for their toolkit assignment. That is what we're doing with you guys this week. And then citations. These are either articles I read specific to graphic organizers, or some of the visuals as well. So I hope that this presentation was useful to you, and I hope that you use it again and again, and I look forward to seeing your graphic organizers about how you're going to go about making your toolkits. So see you soon.